Rise and shine, it's a brand new day. Ken can take the stage, ready to play. Weekdays at 10, the cars in the scene. Coffee in hand, they're living the dream. Question in the voice, got the whole town awake. Bringing fire to the mic, make no mistake. Shows in the corner, spitting out facts. Dropping truth bombs, ain't holding back. Ken in the morning, feel the heat. From 10 a.m. CST, can take a seat. Live and loud, that break in the mud. Light up your speakers, crank up the sound. They're talking about life upside down. Opinions exploded like a sonic blast. In the studio, they're built to last. With passion and grit, they engage and ignite. Every single week, they're all foes can't fight. From sports to politics,
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a Thursday night football morning edition of Ken and Ken in the Morning. Of course, I've got Ken with me. Good morning, Ken.
Morning there, Ken.
And, of course, the big news everyone's talking about this morning, for those who have checked their feeds already, was the unexpected death of Marshawn Kneeland from the Dallas Cowboys, 24 years old, scored his first NFL touchdown on Monday Night Football this week. Real quick, from what I was able to gather this morning, I stopped looking about 2 minutes ago. No cause of death has been determined yet. The death was confirmed by his agent and the Cowboys this morning, and that's all we really know. But, I mean, yeah, that's a shocker. 24 years old, drafted last year in the draft. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. That's definitely got to be super rough for his family, being the age that he is, because that's not something that's even in your wildest dreams of expectation type of thing.
Well, no, and especially for not just the age thing in general, but a young athlete who's obviously going to be in pretty good shape, being a professional athlete. It's not like couch potato, diabetes, whatever. I wonder if there was an underlying medical condition that kind of like a Hank Gathers kind of thing, for those old enough to remember Hank Gathers. You know, did he have a heart condition that went unchecked that no one knew about? That, I mean, because look at these athletes too, they get checked for everything. I mean, the medical on these guys, especially in the draft process, is pretty big. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, there could have been something underlying. Could there have been, I don't know, maybe he had an allergic reaction or something?
That would make sense.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you always have to go, hey, is there drugs involved? You have to ask that question at that age too, right? We remember Len Bias, those of us who are old enough to remember Len Bias. There could be a bunch of different reasons as to why, but so far, nothing is being offered up in terms of what a cause of death could be. I'm sure we'll find out more as the day goes on. Do another quick search. Yeah, just nothing on the cause of death.
Yeah, that'll probably be released within a couple days to a week, something like that.
News. Let me see what this is. All right, Nick Harris of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, spoke to the Plano Police Department. Officers responded to a quote-unquote welfare concern at Kneeland's residence at 11:40 p.m. last night. Officers did not make contact with anyone at the residence, per Harris. So that is the newest. I mean, there could be foul, and that's the other thing. There could be foul play in this as well. I don't know how good that little nugget of information we got about responding to a welfare check on him last night. So there could be foul play, there could be suicide, there could be a bunch of different things. So I mean, it's just something we're gonna have to watch. I mean, obviously we're not going to speculate on it. It could be a lot of things. That little new piece of information could mean a lot of different things. Hey, I'm not feeling well. Okay, I'll call you in an hour. He never calls back. Hey, can you do a welfare check? To maybe there was violence to whatever, and some neighbor called it in. So I'm sure the next day or two they'll figure that out. But that's it's huge. He was also part of the going back to the football side of this. He was part of the solution for them trading away Micah Parsons. They looked at him as being part of that solution. So, interesting scenario playing out there. Lucas says, yeah. I mean, who knows what it was? We don't even know if he was found in his apartment, where he was found. We won't speculate. There will be other press releases probably throughout the day and the week.
What happened?
Marshawn Kneeland from the Dallas Cowboys passed away.
Oh no.
Yeah, 24 years old. We just found out that there was a health and welfare check done on his residence at about 11:30 last night, but there was no response when they went to go check to make entry or anything like that. And then this morning, his agent and the Cowboys both confirmed that he had passed away. But other than that, there's no real news on his death.
Oh.
And I'm sure they'll like I said, they'll probably filter through. In the next day or two, they'll figure something out, and we'll get a breaking news tidbit on that. But yeah,
All respect and prayers for his family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sucks. 24 years old, man. He's just a kid.
just got drafted. He was part of the reason why they, part of the fix-it plan for getting rid of Parsons. That's why they felt comfortable. They drafted him. He showed a lot of promise, and and then today who knows what? Like I said, we'll figure out the cause of death in the days to come. No use speculating on it, because the next thing you know, it'll be aliens who abducted him and killed him on an experimentation table and magically placed him back in his apartment. We'll get all those conspiracy theories started. I mean, it's Dallas. Anything could happen there, Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot, there's a lot of reasons why people do a lot of things that we never figure out. So, yeah, brain aneurysm. Actually, that's Fred. That's good. Actually, a soldier of mine. One of my soldiers from when I was at the 143rd ESC in Orlando. It'll be 3 years ago now. Coming up pretty soon. He went in for a routine procedure and had a brain aneurysm on the table and passed away right then and there. Nothing they could do about it. And totally undiagnosed. No, because you're not going to operate if they think there's a mitigating problem that could kill you. They got him on the table, and he had a brain aneurysm and passed away on a simple procedure that they were doing that day. And so brain aneurysm could be a cause, but like I said, we'll probably hear something within the day or two, within the coming days, on this. I mean, but yeah, that's. I know it's human nature to want to know the why right away. We're not going to.
Yeah.
Point forward. So we're not going to speculate on it all day, because we could spend the next 5 hours speculating on this and still know absolutely, guess what? Nothing. So, sorry to hear that, Steve. I turned 53 too, and just 12 days away. We do have football though tonight that will be played regardless. If you want to call tonight's game football, the Denver Broncos and the Raiders playing tonight. Joe, are we expecting anything tonight? I mean, look, it's a division game, so there's that.
I'm expecting Brock Bowers to go off, but other than that, I mean, how are you going to sit here and how would I look predicting? Oh yeah, the Raiders are going to beat a 7-2 Broncos team. Like,
well, with what we've seen this year, I mean, it's not impossible.
Yeah, but that's the last thing the Raiders need is to start winning games now. Like, now that you're already out of playoff contention, the Raiders do this to themselves every year, dude. Like, almost every year they get themselves themselves into this deep hole where it's like, okay, the playoffs are pretty much out of the question, and then they go ahead and win a couple meaningless games at the end of the season that totally tanks their draft stock. Like, no, at this point, just take the top 5 pick and get a quarterback, dude. Like,
didn't we have this conversation last year, Joe?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. And what happened? The Raiders won a couple of meaningless games at the end of the season that took them to the number 6 pick. Yeah, we got Genty, but I mean, I don't know. We would have had the number 1 pick if we didn't do that, So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, believe me, it hurts me to say that because I hate the Broncos. Like, I'd love to beat them, dude. And it's still early. It's still early enough in the season, theoretically, like the Saints and the Jets could get another win somewhere along the way. Like, so, maybe, I don't know. Fuck it. I wouldn't mind a win, Do I believe in Pete Carroll? I like Pete Carroll, but I question some of his decisions this year, like coaching personnel wise. I question some of his decisions. But in the grand scheme of things, I feel like Pete Carroll knows a hell of a lot more about football than I do. So I kind of have faith that whatever he's doing, even if I don't agree with it, as long as it brings results, I'm okay with it. Like,
I mean, look, the Raiders have in some ways gotten better, right? They're not like a completely lost team. They've got some pieces. I mean, yes, they traded away Jacoby Myers. So, okay, they took away one of their best passing threats outside of Brock Bowers. Maybe Genty gets used more down the passing game. I don't know. Defensively, they're a quagmire because, I mean, they kind of go as Max goes. And even if Max is going up, well, Jeremy Chinn's been a bright spot. I know he's been good for my fantasy team.
I actually think Devin White has been a bright spot too. Jamal Adams has played all right. It's those aren't the personnel decisions I'm talking about. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Ken. The personnel decisions I'm talking about are on the offensive line, like switching Jordan Meredith to center and then putting JPJ at guard, making him compete with Alex Kappa for the job. Like, Alex Kappa is not a good guard anymore. Like, maybe he had a day where he was good, but he's not good anymore. And he's sitting here like making JPJ, who is actually has a lot of potential to be a great player, like compete with him for a job that JPJ should be. When they had this rotation last year where JPJ was the center, Meredith was at guard, and the second half of the season, the Raiders' offensive line greatly improved when they went to that combination. Then all of a sudden, Pete comes in, and it's like, no, we're going to put JPJ at guard, but not just that. We're going to make him compete with Alex Kappa for the starting guard spot. Meredith is too small for center. And not just that, but, like, so I watch a lot of, like, podcasts like Tape Don't Lie. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Tape Don't Lie, but it's specifically a Raiders podcast. Shout out Marcus and BD. So they break down a lot of the tape, and they were showing it last week, and also Sanjay was showing it as well. Sanjay showed this particular thing, but Meredith calls out the wrong protections, and then Gino has to go and correct his protections a lot. And so, like, the
you're saying it's more not a Gino problem, but a center problem, maybe?
No, Gino has played equally terrible. But I'm not trying to scapegoat Meredith for Gino's problems. But what I am saying is, there's some partial truth to that. Like
Yeah, because if
Meredith
you're always
calls the
having
wrong
to,
protections,
if
and
you're
then
always having the change of correct the like, look, if you're Geno Smith, you got enough to worry about, right? I got to deliver the ball, I got to find the receiver, I got to scan all the routes, I got to do all these things, and I have to make a good decision. I can't turn the ball over. Oh, and then on top of that, my dumbass center keeps calling the wrong position. So now I don't know if I've got a half a second or if I'm going to get like the 2.5 seconds I need to get rid of the ball because my dumbass offensive line keeps calling the wrong plays. I mean, I would say that's a huge factor mentally for him as to maybe why some of the errors are coming unforced because let's face it, he's having to worry about now extra shit they shouldn't have to worry about that he didn't worry about in Seattle. And like, Broski said, well, the Raiders have not improved. I'm like, well, Broski, yes and no. Like they have improved in certain areas, but then they've degraded in other areas. So yes, net performance wise, you're correct. They have not improved. They have improved though in some areas where now you can say, okay, if they can just like do what Joe and I are talking about, have us, get their offensive line, flip it back to what it was last year because it's the same personnel. Flip it back to what worked last year so Geno doesn't have to worry about is my center calling the wrong protection and now I'm going to get blindsided. And that's got to be a concern for him every time he takes the ball now. They might actually be a little bit better team that might actually win some games that people think they shouldn't win.
Well, their offense looked a lot better with Bowers back, I'll say that.
Oh, yeah. And of course, defensively, look at scheme-wise, they got to make Chin's playing well. There are a couple guys playing well. Max gets his games, even though Max has finally recovered from how they moved him. But it's like, dude, come on, man. Like, use Max how you're supposed to use Max. I mean, Broski, how they improved, their running game improved. There you go. End of story. There's an improvement.
Over the course of the season, their running game has improved somewhat over the course of the season, although they still don't give Genty enough carries, number one. Their passing game, when Bowers, you can see the difference when Bowers is on the field healthy versus when he's not. Like, they're a totally different offense. Defensively, I'm going to say this. Defensively, this is another gripe I have with Pete Carroll. Last year, Patrick Graham was running his cover 2 scheme, and the Raiders for 2/3 of the season were a top 10 defense until like over half of their starters got hurt. And then of course, you're playing a bunch of backups. You're not going to maintain that level unless your backups are as good as your starters, where there's only a few teams that have that kind of depth, right? But Pete Carroll comes in and he completely changes. He keeps Patrick Graham as the defensive coordinator, but he completely changes the scheme, and now they're running cover 3, and it's just not working. Like, if it was me, I would say, if I was Pete, I would say, you know what, Pat, go back to running your cover 2. Cover 3 ain't working. I'm gonna take my hands off of that part of the defense, dude. Like, you handle the play calling, you handle the scheme. I got bigger fish to fry right now. I got to worry about putting this team together, like getting this team to believe in itself. And
it's frustrating because with the Raiders, you can see some like signs of where improvement's going to happen, and it just doesn't materialize because, like with Geno, like they're getting better. Look, even for as bad as Geno has been, and Raider fans have bitched about him, it's still better than what they had last year. And it could be even better if they'd fix that offensive line issue that Joe just talked about. And Geno doesn't have to, and Geno could just, be what Geno was. It's like Geno's got like these added responsibilities, and those added responsibilities were enough to break the camel's back. If you take that away and let him have his confidence back, Geno might not be having the season he has. And no, Broski, it's not that we love hyping the Jets or the Raiders. I mean, but then again, look, I'm not like you. I don't say, they're a complete joke and a complete ass, because they're not. They've got talent. They can be better if they did certain things. The Jets, early on this season, were close in a lot of games. I mean, it wasn't like they were getting blown out 53-2 every week. So it's not hyping them. It's like, man, it's like here's a team that's close and just can't quite figure it out for whatever reason. There's a difference there, Broski.
I don't feel like we were hyping the Raiders at all. No. I feel like I was being very honest about their weaknesses, and I don't feel like I made them sound like I glazed their strengths or anything. Like, I was pretty real about their deficiencies. Like the scheme is not working. What's that?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ken.
Mostly, yes. The only thing that I would say that you could possibly say for that argument was Geno Smith when he first got there. But, you did change direction real quick, and I mean I don't fault you for it. I'm just saying, yeah.
Well, yeah,
because there was cause to do so when Geno got there.
There was cause to have hope when Geno got there.
Yeah.
I hoped that he would play better than Gardner Minshew, and he really hasn't in a lot of ways. But again, like as the season progresses, you start to figure out some things. And after seeing what I saw on tape last week, I kind of agree with Ken. I don't think it takes all the blame off of Geno, but I do think having to have that extra layer of like pre-snap stuff where now I have to not only do my job, but I have to do the center's job as well. Like, and I think that for me, part of that is like, I don't think Geno was doing that from the beginning of the season. I think he was trusting Meredith to make the protections. And then, so it's like, you're trusting this guy to do his job. And now you're getting sacked and you're getting pressured and you're throwing all these picks. And to Geno's credit, he never threw Meredith under the bus. He took responsibility for it.
A new helmet. Geno's got a new helmet. If you haven't noticed, he's got the normal face guard in the front. Now he's got one in the back of the eyes. He has to have behind him for all the blindside fucking hits he takes. I mean, look at and I'm not trying to overhype the Raiders or throw them too much love on this, but like, if you can see the difference with these guys in offensive lines, right? And you got an offensive line you can trust, like in Seattle. Look what happens with the quarterback. I don't care who you throw up there. If it's Ginger Jesus or Geno, they can make plays. Look at the difference with Caleb last year and this year because of the offensive line. Look how much his numbers are up comparatively, how many less sacks he takes, how much more confidence he has. This game the Bears just had, for all the faults that the Bears had in that game, Caleb does not make that drive last year. That game-winning drive does not happen with that offensive line from last year because he would not have had the confidence to do it. He would have, the second he snapped the ball, he would have been rolling to the right or rolling to the left, not sitting in the pocket and delivering a strike to Colston Loveland. That would have happened with the line if he had, let's say, the Raiders line because the trust factor. And you think, well, okay, we got new guys. Then it takes a quarterback, a while to trust his line. And in the inverse for Geno, who had the trust coming forward, hey, I should have a good line. And then he took some bad shit. And it's taken him time to adjust to realize I can't trust my line and I got to do this extra shit. He's played better the last couple of weeks. Why? Because he hasn't been trusting his line and he's been protecting himself and the ball more than he did earlier, taking some bad hits and throws. I mean, so it's funny with these teams, though, whether it be the Jets, the Raiders, or hell, you can even look at the Chargers are a good case in point. You know, Herbert always had faith in his line. He loses his two of his best linemen, and all of a sudden he's a turnover machine and making bad decisions. No, he's still trusting his line because he thinks the next guy up is going to do it. When they don't, now mistakes are starting to happen. It's a domino effect. And, I mean, so you can look across the Rodgers, same thing. Like when he was with New York, it took him the first half of that season with New York that he actually played, he was horrendous. But by the end of the year, he was starting to play like a little bit more like Rodgers because he had adjusted for his shitty line. And like a guy like Rodgers who has years of experience, he can adjust better than some of these younger cats. So I mean, just like when we're talking quarterbacks in general, in relation to their lines, your line's not cutting it. That's more work for you as a quarterback. And then then you want to talk about confidence killer. It's a confidence killer because you're not necessarily not confident you can make the throws. You're not confident that you're going to be upright to make the throw. Mm-hmm. And that's a big deal. So,
you have to wonder where the pressure is coming from because your center is not getting his reads right, and you have to. So now Geno is actually fixing his reads, and it's taking more time. But Geno played a much better. I'm not going to say he played a great game, but he played a much better game last week. Like, when he took the time to fix Meredith's reads. And Genty also, Genty's a rookie. He makes mistakes in pass pro. Like sometimes he goes the wrong way. He picks up the wrong guy. It's happened a few times. Like he'll get better. Like, and another thing, you know, the Raiders, they're a young team. For the most part, they have some older veterans, but the Raiders have they're starting a lot of young guys, and you know, these guys are first year guys. They're not setting the world on fire. So I have some hope for the rookie class. Although I think Jack Betch was at this point, he's looking like he was a huge reach. Like he just hasn't really shown anything.
They're obviously on a 2 to 3 year plan with Pete Carroll, right? So like year one,
Yeah.
you know, you thought, well, maybe if the guys come back based on some of the stuff from last year, you know, cool. But you know, I mean, we'll see what they do next year. Real quick to switch it up because I want to get to Philip a little bit. Philip, of course, always asking tons of questions, and this one's kind of apropos. So we're talking about best offensive line going into Week 10 in the NFC North. Right now, ironically, it might be the Bears. Ironically speaking, it might be the Bears. I mean, I think all the O-lines in the North have issues in one way. Like, for instance, the Bears were really good at pass pro to start the season, but still pretty bad on run protect. But then after the bye, they got a lot better run protect, as we've seen by the Bears running game exploding since the bye.
And then Green Bay's got the issue of, for some reason, we keep putting Sean Ryan into the lineup when almost every time now this guy's making a huge gaffe. It's, yeah, I can understand, you know, sometimes a player needs a snap or two off, but I don't want to see full drives with him out there.
Well, and then like Detroit, like every time you think Detroit's got together, they don't. Because, you know, every time you think, like this week's games, like, okay, I want to take Detroit, but every time you think Detroit's finally the team, they shoot themselves in the dick. You know,
full cheddar Bob.
I mean, but you know what I mean? Like, look at last week, and then you go, well, they give the Vikings some credit, but what about the Vikings? Well, yeah, but they can't keep a quarterback healthy. So, ironically, it could be the Bears right now for that, and that goes into the next question that Philip, the questioner, has. That's his new nickname, the questioner. Is Ben Johnson scheming more of the offense? No, he's scheming him more into the offense. Look at all the design run plays, the trick plays. I mean, think about last week. He threw a touchdown. He ran the ball. He caught the ball. The only thing he didn't do was actually take a direct snap under center.
I agree with that. Like, it's not that he was scheming DJ Moore out. It's that Rome Odunze has stepped up and has taken on that role. So he's taking a lot of the targets. So I actually think Ben Johnson has gone out of his way. Like, he's like, look, we still want to keep DJ Moore as part of this offense, right? But obviously, like, we got to go with the hot hand. Rome is on fire. So, like, let's find other ways to get the ball in his hands. And you know, like, I think it's very creative the way he's been using DJ Moore, actually.
And last week, if you're a defensive coordinator, you look at last week, Rome Odunze had 3 targets. One of them probably was catchable. The other 2 are more like throwaway balls, right? Rome last week, guess what? Caleb Williams had more receiving yards and more receptions than Rome Odunze last week. Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, he was the first quarterback since 1930 to have 2 receptions in a game, right? Which, the fact that DJ Moore got more looks last week, more balls thrown, was more part of the offense than Rome. That's a testament to how Rome tore up this league to start the year and is still drawing so much attention that they can move away and they can move to guys like Loveland and they can move to throwing in the flat to other people. Zacchaeus is very quietly becoming a very big go-to receiver for Caleb. In fact,
I've always liked Zacchaeus.
You hear Zacchaeus' name a lot in games. He's getting more.
I liked him when he played for the Commanders too. Like he was a very reliable guy for Jaden Daniels last year.
I'll have to check the
him
stats.
And Diami Brown, I think his name is Diami. His name is, it's kind of weird, but those 2 guys were stepped up big for him. But do you think that Rome is drawing a lot, like, because of the start that he had, he's starting to draw a lot more attention, like, to where they kind of have to go away from him because teams are like, okay, we're not going to let this dude cook us. You know, you're going to have to cook us somewhere else. Like,
well, okay, so this is where I was going to go before you cut in. So that's fine and all. It's all good. But I mean, I think, look at Zacchaeus. if you look at, I have to look his numbers up, and I always say his name wrong, whatever. But I think he's got more targets than anyone because Rome and DJ are such big names. They draw, and no one pays attention to him. Rome, I think they're picking their moments where he can kill you and then draw the attention. So yes, but he does so much in the blocking. He might be the best blocking receiver of the three. So he draws a lot more of the blocking. DJ blocks pretty well too, but Rome is probably a better blocker. So he's getting a lot of these blocking assignments as well. And the thing about Rome is he cherishes that. He's spoken about that over the last 2 years, how he loves to be part of the blocking scheme and doing these things that get his teammates open. And look, at people think like, oh, for receiver, you get your big contract because of yards and touchdowns. Yes and no. You also get a big contract if you're a big-time receiver, can do those things, and you can block and stuff. He's going to be fine for contractual purposes. He just wants the team to win. He's a team guy. So, I mean, there's some of what you said I think is also true, Joe, because he burned for 5 touchdowns in the first couple games that people are like, oh, we got to really watch him. That makes it so other people are open. But as now you're starting to see, like, Steve asked, is Loveland the best tight end in the North? Well, dude, it's too early to say that about Loveland. He had one breakout game where the Bears, and part of that's not on Loveland, part of that's on the Bears' offensive scheme, because the Bears, for whatever reason, over the last almost decade, don't throw to tight ends often enough. If they start throwing the ball to him more, then the argument might be able to be made eventually, but not now. But now, if you can, if Caleb's throwing the ball to Loveland, if he's throwing the ball to Kmet when he's in, if he's throwing it to Swift, to Managa, to DJ, to Zacchaeus, and they're spreading the ball around, then Rome will start getting the ball because, all right, who am I going to double team? It's kind of like what we saw with Cincinnati. Okay, fine, you shut down one guy, but the other guy kills you. Well, you're getting the same scenario starting to build up in Chicago. Sure, you can put a lot of guys on Rome, and now DJ Moore is going to kill you, or Zacchaeus is going to kill you. Oh, you're gonna try to shut DJ Moore out of the offense? Cool. Rome Odunze is going to be wide open, catching 35-yard passes from Caleb. So, I mean, this is the scenario, and people got to understand too that the game, there's an ebb and flow to it from week to week to week, right? So you are going to have a couple games where, like Golden hasn't gotten shit the last couple of games. But you know what? Maybe they go back to him this game because now people start to sleep on him. Well, because when you're prepping, you're like, well, Golden, yeah, well, in the last 4 games, he's had 5 receptions. Okay, we don't have to put as much thought into him. Guess what? Packers are going, hey, he's only had 5 receptions in the last 3 games or so. Maybe we should feature him this game.
Yeah, that's one of the things that is good about the Packers offense, but annoys you too, is that you don't have 1 or 2 guys that are constantly killing them. It's okay. For this matchup, we're going with this guy. This matchup, we're going with that guy.
Yeah, I mean, but I would not say
I think that's a good thing for receiver by committee, though, because it keeps any of them from getting a huge head. Like it's like nobody's the superstar, but everybody's pulling their weight. Like this game, it's going to be Kraft. This game, it's going to be Dobbs. This game, it's going to be, I think that's a smart strategy.
Look at the Bears receiving room and the way these guys act with each other. I mean, you see Rome and DJ and these guys clowning, always having fun with each other. They are a cohesive group of guys. They enjoy being with each other. You can tell they do. Just in the little stuff they do, right? The little things they poke at each other and play. And, it's not like someone's mad because they're getting the ball more and they're always hyping each other up. That's a sign of a good locker room where they're not going, feed me. They're like, feed us.
Well,
right?
and
who it is.
Everybody's always happy when you're winning.
There you go.
Everybody's always happy when you're winning, dude.
So DJ and Rome though were like that last year, even when the Bears
I'm not saying winning. That. I'm not trying to make an indictment on Chicago's locker room. I'm just saying, with any team, like unless you have a guy like, oh man, I'm trying to think like who gets pissed off even when they're Devontae Adams gets pissed off even when you're winning, like because he's not getting the ball, like
AJ Brown.
Brown.
That's a good thing about, and I've heard, the Packers, you kind of see the same thing to a degree, a little bit different than you see, DJ and Rome get more airtime than Dobbs does, obviously with the antics and that. But AJ Brown. There's another good example. Yeah. AW, we covered that at the beginning of the show. But I mean, so I don't think DJ Moore, like fans will say shit. Oh, DJ Moore's not getting the ball. We should trade him. Oh, he wants out because he's not getting the ball. Dude, look at DJ Moore. I don't see any signs of that from the man himself. Or from his teammates.
Why wouldn't you're winning? Yeah. You're much better than you were last year. Like, ride this out. And plus, it's just like you said, Ken. It's an ebb and flow game. Like, Rome is going to get his numbers, but then there's going to be games where the teams put their focus on him and clamp him down. DJ Moore he's not done for the season. He's going to have some more catches. He's going to get some more yards. He's got some games to go. So
there was a quote attributed to Rome's dad, how Rome should be traded because the Bears didn't use him enough in the Cincinnati game. Blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, shut the hell up. You don't get it. Let your son play football. Parents, stay out of that. I don't care. Okay, fine, your kid's in the NFL. That doesn't mean give you, like, license to say shit. Except my kid's in the NFL. You don't understand their locker room, their work. I mean, you're a fan plus is what you are. You're a fan plus. You don't know the inner workings of an organization. You don't know how the offensive scheme is supposed to work. You don't know. That's just stupid shit when they say parents of NFL players.
Man, are you sure you're not talking about Christian Watson's dad? Because that sounds awfully fucking familiar.
Dude, yeah, what is with these parents of NFL players thinking like they have license to go talk to the media about, well, my son should be traded because the team he's on doesn't. Dude, shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, dude, I wonder how many conversations these players have with their parents saying, you need to shut up. Like, you need to not say anything.
I guarantee they have these conversations, and I guarantee it falls on deaf ears with the parents because, well, I raised an NFL player as a kid, so I know everything.
It's like they're like the balls, like, I'm going to start my own clothing line and everything because my son's in the NFL. Dude, sit down. It's like, come on, man.
And I think going back to Philip's question about tight ends, I think it's way too early. Like Ken said, I don't think you can make a judgment on Loveland possibly being the best tight end in the North until at least the end of next year. Because right now he's got some stiff competition, man. Laporta is fucking good. Kraft, good. Those are two guys that are all pro potential guys. Like,
it's not just that, Joe. It's like they actually need to throw the ball to him. Like. Because look, unfortunately, it's usually tied to production in terms of catches and touchdowns, and the Bears don't throw to the tight end often. Like maybe 2 to 3 passes, period. And that's of course, what's the difference between Brock and Colston rookie years? Well, Brock got
targeted a whole shitload.
Yeah, and Colston does not. So why? But then you ask yourself, well, why is that? Because Brock is better? No, it's because Brock is the only target they had. Colston's got to deal with DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Zacchaeus, Swift, Komet. He's got a lot of other guys who the ball is going to get fed to. I mean, if you look at Kraft, why did Kraft get so much up? Why did Kraft get so much? Because outside of Dobbs, the passing game, he was the most reliable guy. So you weren't feeding the ball to Jacobs because he's basically just running the ball. So he's not taking targets away. But for the Packers, he was a main target because outside of Dobbs, he was the reliable guy, right? I mean, so he got more targets. It comes down to targeting. Laporta isn't getting targeted as much anymore. Why? Because JMO has come on the scene finally after a couple of years where they target him more. So when these receivers get more targets, guess who gets less? The tight ends. And the tight ends start blocking more and doing these other things. So, I mean, Loveland, it's hard with the tight ends because I go back to the Kittle game, his first game back. Kittle was the star of the game. And people go, but how can you say that? He had no touchdowns. He had no receiving yards. Because every time there was a big play, guess who broke it open with a block? Yeah. George Kittle did. CMC does not get those big runs in that game.
No, he's McCaffrey's best friend, dude.
Kittle, though, was the star of that game. And, of course, no one's going to give him credit for it because he didn't put up the yards and the points on it, but he's the one who broke them all. So with tight ends, They are a weird lot by any stretch of the imagination, just whether as people or anything, they're just strange. But when it comes down to determining what makes a good tight end, you can't look at targets and touchdowns and yards. You got to look at like what they do, all the dirty work they do that break all the big yards for everyone else. That's why Kittle's so good. I mean, and Kittle's so good not only because he does all that. Yeah, he does break out the big game where he gets a bunch of yards and a touchdown or 2 or 3. You know, Kelsey's the inverse of that, right? Kelsey's not this big blocking guy who breaks a lot of people open. He's more the receiving only kind of guy. But then you get your Kittles and your Lovelands of the world that do this other stuff too. And I think they're better than a guy like Kelsey. Laporta does not get the credit he deserves for the blocking that he does for their run game. You know, Kraft doesn't get enough credit for the blocking he does, but everyone says, oh, these guys are so great because look at all the yards they get. No, look at the blocking they do. That's more important. And that also kind of creates those opportunities like Loveland sneaking down the seam and getting a touchdown against Cincinnati. You know, if he's always route runner and they're always having to account for him heavily as a route runner, he's not as effective as a pass catcher. So there's a balance that needs to be struck. I don't think Chicago has struck that balance with the tight ends yet. They don't use them enough as a weapon because if you strike the balance right with your tight end, this is what makes them so unique. If I have to account for Colson Loveland as a pass catcher every play, even when he's just blocking, what does that do to my receiving core? Makes life simpler, right? Now it lets me sneak the running back out of the backfield. Now it lets me do some other things. So that's the weird thing about that position group. And Colston Loveland does so too. His routes are pretty crispy. But
they'll use Colston a lot more going forward, I think.
Well, yeah, he's going to draw attention after last week. He's going to start drawing.
But
more
I mean,
attention.
I think they'll start. Yeah, they'll start targeting him more too. Like it's part of he's that rookie that had his breakout game, so that he showed that he can catch. So now it's like I would expect that they'll start to feature him more
and break tackles, right? So yeah, and then you know what's going to happen? They do that. They do a 2 tight end set, and he draws a double, and Kmet draws a single. Then they're going to go to Kmet. And then when Kmet draws a double and Loveland gets a single, they're going to go to Loveland. I mean, that's the beauty. That's why I think Kmet stays on this team next year after he gets healthy and comes back. Kmet's issue this year is he's got to stop the false starts. That's been his Achilles heel for the first time in his career. So I see it more as a blip, right? If they can get those 2 guys on the same sheet of music and his offense as it's getting better and better, now Ben Johnson's got 2 running backs to go to with Monangai and Swift. And now he's got 2 tight ends, and we know he's got 3 receivers and an offensive line that can protect Caleb for the most part. That, like I was saying at the beginning of the year, this could be an offense that you don't want to face. Woody's like, and Woody even said, man, I was wrong. We can win a shootout. They just showed you they can win a shootout. They have the capability of putting up points, and they've had it all year. Every single game of the year, they've scored 21 points minus 1 game. They're the only team in the league to do that. But it's the Bears, so people say, well, it's the Bears. I mean, who did they play? But they're doing it. So I mean, they're going to be they're going to give defensive coordinators fits. So as we get into our division play here in the next couple of weeks, it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. We're going to talk about this weekend's games tomorrow because the Bears get a good defensive front, the Giants. So this will be a good test for them. But best tight end. Man, there's so many different dynamics you have to look at. And I don't even know who the best tight end right now in the division is.
Well, until he tore his ACL, I think it was Kraft. But
you can make an argument for all of them. Hey, good morning.
Yeah, and speaking of that, Joe, could you do me a huge favor and never, ever mention Tucker Kraft's name again? Because the last time you did, it didn't work out well for us.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we know. I mean, I would say Kraft was basic work. I would say Kraft is the best right now, but I mean, the best tight end in the NFL is Brock Bowers anyway. So what are you talking about?
Wait, I'm trying to decipher Hugs. This is a rump from Rumble. Hugs' comment here with him. I don't read emoji as well. I know there's something there. I'm just missing it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Need a translation. Laporta, you can make a good case for Laporta, Luca, for sure.
Yeah. None of them are better than Bowers, though.
Well, I mean,
Hey, I think we still got a little bit of Bowers left over here.
yeah, he
Yeah,
does.
well,
It's
he's from my hometown, man.
It's dripping off his chin.
I mean, everybody glazes somebody, I guess.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
at least I picked a good one.
Hey, real quick, switching up from tight ends to cornerbacks, Asante Samuel is only visiting 3 teams.
What teams are those?
San Francisco.
Green Bay is one of them.
No, Green Bay is not.
He already has a visit scheduled for, I think it's today.
Not according to the press release that went out.
I was going to say it must depend on the press release because I've seen multiple that said he was going to Green Bay, and I'm pretty sure it was today.
Nope. Let me find it. I got to find it back, scroll back down here and find it. But one of them was the Niners, which made sense. Here you go. He's meeting with the 49ers, the Steelers, and the Bears. Those are the 3 that were released that were announced that he's meeting with. He's meeting with he visited the Panthers yesterday. I'm wrong, Ken. I am wrong.
I know you were wrong.
They changed it. The Packers today, the Vikings Friday, the Niners, Bears, and Steelers are meeting Monday through Wednesday next week. So he's got 7. So it's 7 teams. So I don't think unless one of them really just wows him, right? I don't know if he's signing anytime soon. What's he said? Self-inflicted gunshot wound. Wow.
I'm with you, Steve.
Well, thank you. That's crazy. No, I'm going back to what Fred said. That's
Mm-hmm.
You can say what you want, but I mean, the dude continues to prove it week after week, man. Like, is anybody seriously going to sit here and say that he's not one of the greatest tight ends you've ever seen?
I have had enough of my players going down with injuries.
No. Let's not cop out that way.
Brock Bowers is the greatest human on earth.
Stop. Hold on. This is from Frisco, Texas, from the police department down there. This is the release. A man was found deceased from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound following an outside agency vehicle pursuit that led to a multi-agency search in Frisco. On November 5th, 2025, at apparently 10:39 p.m., the Frisco Police Department responded to assist the Texas Department of Public Safety with locating a vehicle that had evaded troopers during a pursuit that entered the city of Frisco. After losing visual of the vehicle, troopers located it minutes later, crashed on southbound Dallas Parkway near Warren Parkway. Initial reports indicated that a male subject, later identified as 24-year-old male Marshawn Nealand of Plano, Texas, fled the scene on foot. Officers established a perimeter and initiated search of the area with the assistance of canine and drone units. During the course of the search, officers received information that Nealand had expressed suicidal ideations. Nealand was later located at 1:31 a.m., deceased, with what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The cause, manner of death will be determined by the coroner's office. At this time, no further details will be released as this investigation remains ongoing. Our heartfelt condolences to Nealand family and friends. If you or someone you know are struggling with a crisis, help is available. Please call or text the Suicide and Crisis Hotline at 988. You are not alone. That's a lot to unpack. Wow. And that's the official police release on the death of Nealand? There was a lot to unpack there. I mean, the car chase. I'm like, why was there a car chase to begin with?
Yep.
And I'm sure we'll find that out too as we move forward. Wow.
Crazy.
That is, I mean, yeah. I what do you say to that, man?
I have no idea.
I mean, for me, it's like tomorrow's another day, man. Like, I can imagine, like he gets in this car chase, he flees from the scene, and he's sitting there thinking to himself, like, I just fucked my whole NFL career. I'm about to go to prison or go to jail. Like, I let my family down. I let everyone down. It might be better just to go this way. And like, no, man, it's much better to just, tomorrow's another day, man. You know?
I mean, the old adage, which is so true, don't have a permanent solution to a temporary problem, right? But I mean, that's now the bigger question. Now becomes the why. What because now, I mean, look, they put in this press release about this big car chase, right? Why was there a car chase?
Mm-hmm.
And well, was he doing 135 and a 20? And that's what initiated, or what else was there? That's all these questions are not going to pop up because of that one little blip. Like, why was there a car chase? And then you're right, Joe. Like, there's another day. Like, okay, so what? I might get it if I was doing if I is one of these 130 in a 65 zone speeding tickets. Like, dude, take the ticket. Oh, but I'm gonna get fined. Who cares? It's a fine.
I was gonna say I gotta assume it's something more than that. If that's the option he took, I would at least think that it's got to be something decently bad. At least my assumption here.
But what you didn't hear in the press release was, we were pursuing a suspect for this crime or whatever. It leads me to believe that it was just like, I kind of agree with Ken. I think it's like maybe he was, hot dogging in his car and like he didn't want to pull over. He got windy on him, and then like all of a sudden, I mean, you're not going to outrun the police for very long, dude. Eventually, they're going to find you.
Let me quote this part again. The Frisco Police Department responded to assist the Texas Department of Public Safety with locating a vehicle that had evaded troopers during a pursuit that entered the city of Frisco. Right? That's all they say. You have no reason why the pursuit. Just if there was a pursuit. Now, maybe DPS, the Texas Department of Public Safety, will have their own press release that will explain why they were pursuing him to begin with. Right? But they leave it vague, partially because that wasn't their piece of the pie. They picked up the pursuit to assist another agency. So that agency, if they do a press release, they'll be the ones who answer that question, right? Frisco PD doesn't have the answer to that question, because it's like, if someone goes, well, Joe, why did you say this? Well, because Ken asked me to be on the show today. They don't know what I did before that when I called for the assist, so to speak. So they just get told, hey, we need an assist. Okay, we're on it. They don't get told the why. It's like, hey, we need an assist because this guy ran for a speeding ticket. They don't need to give that. Hey, we got a guy in pursuit of, we need help. Boom, they go. That's not their piece of the pie. Their piece of the pie is to assist the other agency who asked for help. The other agency isn't right. So, I mean, it could be anything. It could be anything. Could he have done something stupid? Yeah. Could have been something like, something that he did too stupid, was going to get jammed up for something he didn't do. Yeah. It could have been. We'll find out more when as more press releases come out in the investigation further. But from what we were about 50 minutes ago to now is completely different. So, reading behind the line, we don't need to read too much into it. The thing with suicidal ideations, though, could that be because of the police chase? Did they make contact with him via phone or something and try to talk him down? Because, they have the capability to do that. We don't know any of that yet. We don't know if the ideations were made before the pursuit, during the pursuit, after the pursuit. We don't know any of that. Those details will emerge eventually as the investigation continues and they start to release information. So let's not jump to conclusions and start putting our tinfoil hats on for all our little conspiracy theories, because they're all probably going to be wrong to begin with, right? Let's just wait for the information to come out from the guys doing the actual investigation or boots on ground. Terrible situation. Sad day for the NFL. And it seems like every year we have a situation in the NFL where you're just going, And here's a young man who had tons of promise, right? Scored his first touchdown this weekend. Hugs spot on. Tomorrow is a brand new chance to turn the page. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason for a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
I've had so many friends commit suicide, and it's like sometimes you can kind of see it coming, but sometimes it just blindsides you, and you're just like, it's sad because it's like, how did it get so bad that we didn't see it?
We do suicide prevention training in the military. It sounds weird, but we do it. We do a lot of it, too much of it sometimes. A really good NCO that I worked with when I was in command of a unit, he was at my battalion, my hire. He was in the S3. We became really good friends while I was in command, and then we PCS, go to our separate ways. And this guy was awesome. And out of the blue one day, I got, hey, he killed himself, and my former train NCO was in his command structure at his new place. He was in a unit within that command. And he's like, dude, I just talked to him, and no one could tell. He didn't give any of the signs. And part of that is we get trained so much on suicide prevention. If we really want to do it being soldiers, we know what not to do. But it totally came out of the blue. And then in hindsight, when they were able to peel the onion back, that's when they noticed certain things. But that's the thing with this. You don't know until it happens. And sometimes it's the most innocuous little things. And that's in the case with my NCO friend. And we lose 22 of us a day. 22 soldiers a day. Still, that number's up there. Even with all that ad campaigns and everything we do about, veteran suicide, 22 a day is still a number. So, I think Fred hits it right there, man.
Yeah.
And look you've got to say something if you think someone is. Don't, because almost every time without fail, someone's like, well, I didn't want to say anything because I didn't feel it was my place, or some other excuse. There are no excuses. Reach out if you think someone's having that headspace problem. And before they do something, reach out and get them help. And if they're mad at you, that's the worst they're going to be, is mad at you? Fine. You saved their life? Fine. Yeah, they're going to be mad at you because you're going to stop their plan. That's a good being mad at you. So sad news coming out of the NFL this morning. Mitch, I know you're a little bit late to it, but Dallas Cowboys rookie Marshawn Kneeland was found dead this morning, as news has been developing throughout the hour. It was apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound after a police chase. Go read Shefty's tweets. That's the best way for me to catch up. And I'm sure it's going to be talked about here in a few minutes on JB's show, because he's about 30 seconds out from us. Guys, thank you for being with us this morning. Tomorrow morning, we're going to do our Week 10 predictions and maybe have some follow-up on what we've just been talking about this tragic suicide. Hope you all have a good Thursday. Try to enjoy the game today. And yeah, prayers of family and friends. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, everyone.
Go Raiders.